You defund the police, you defame the police. Now you say you want the police, right, but nobody now wants to put on the uniform. America, this is you are reaping what you sow.
So you heard the gunshot there. She, after telling him to put down the weapon, he said no. Then he tackled her. He charged at her. You can see him there with a hammer. And she pulled out her gun and she had to shoot. He was arrested. He was treated at the hospital. And then she also went to the hospital. Her injuries were minor, thank goodness.
Who would want to do that job? It's unbelievable. And that's the question you're asking yourself if you're in a small police station over in Minnesota. Minnesota cops have had a really tough time. Some people are not happy with the way they performed. There's been some negative studies since George Floyd, obviously. But the way they're being disrespected, the low pay, no one's showing up for the academy. And in the town of Goodhue, they are just resigned in mass. On July 26th, they said this. This has been 3 weeks now. We have 0 applicants. I have 0 prospects. I've called every police department around for the youngest guys out there getting into the game. There's nobody getting into the game. If you want to keep the police department, and this is something we want to continue to going with, something needs to change dramatically and drastically, and it's got to happen now. You defund the police, you defame the police. Now you say you want the police, right, but nobody now wants to put on the uniform. America, this you are reaping what you sowed.
Well, Brian, you mentioned George Floyd. Goodhue, Minnesota, is in the same state as Minneapolis, where the George Floyd killing took place. And you combine just the general attitude a lot of people have toward cops and the working conditions with apparently the low pay. The chief quit. But he said, you know what, I'm not going to leave you without anybody. I'm going to stick around until August 24th. And he has been working his tail off trying to find somebody who will work in this small town. The problem is, Ainsley, the pay is not good. And if people are getting into the policing business, you know, somebody just graduating from high school or leaving the military, it's like the pay is low there. So why would I start there? Why wouldn't I go to Minneapolis, or why don't I go to Chicago where the pay is great and I could have, I could have a long career there?
And you want to pick a state where you're going to be supported. Yeah. And in some of these states,
and not in Minneapolis.
Exactly. Many are
Nobody goes to
anti-police.
Minneapolis
They don't
either.
support them. They don't get paid well. Their lives are on the line. Their lives are at risk every time they go out. And if they, make a mistake, then it's over for them. So,
and Ainsley, Chicago can't recruit, and New York is having a lot of trouble. Even if you get trained in the city, as soon as something opens in a smaller area, smaller police station, they're out. Yes. Because they don't need it.
And remember, we interviewed the guy last week, San Francisco Police Department. He had to leave because he decided not to get the vaccine. They're still enforcing that. So he wants his job back, but they're not hiring. And they lost, I believe it was hundreds of police officers.
So if you're watching right now and you want to be in the police business, contact Goodhue, Minnesota, because they don't have any bunch
applicants.
Of cops. No,
they have a uniform your size.
We hope.